The best performer on the Dow today, Verizon. Nike trailed down by about 2.8% there. Constellation Brands, the leader on the S&P 500 after reporting their earnings, higher by more than 5%. And Coty lagged. That's the cosmetic and fragrance maker, down by more than 8%. All right, gentlemen, let's get right into this. What a day it was, Mike. I mean, things really turned around towards the end of the day. What do you make of the action? What happened? Walk us through the day.
We did stabilize toward the end of the day. I think a few points in the market were kind of defended, so that 2,900 point in the S&P 500. We basically also came up off that 1% loss level in the Dow. It seems to me this was another stress test applied by a two-day rise in Treasury yields across the market. You said, what does it actually mean in the context of a market that's been kind of pulling back below the surface already? So I think ahead of a jobs report, the market often wants to pull itself into a more neutral position. So that's why bond yields came down a little bit. Stocks got a little bit of a bid. Didn't change the longer-term uptrend in stocks, but definitely, I think, as I say, a stress test, a little bit of a gut check for whether, in fact, we can go up in a straight line or need some more of this October pullback action.
Rob, what's your view as to what the main reason for the selling was today? Lots of factors out there, whether it's tech, China, or interest rates.
Yeah, I kind of walked away. I went to a long lunch. I came back and I saw what had gone on, but it actually made sense to me. I mean, if you have a repricing of the risk-free rate, it's going to be competitive with the equity, or the equity market is going to have to be competitive with that, and it hasn't been. It's now repriced it. It doesn't seem to me like it's some sort of, I mean, I was struggling like what happened in the market. What's the big stock story today? What's the thing that triggered this that was, I don't know, suggested earnings were going to be down or valuations would be knocked in some way? And it's just like Mike said, I mean, the market repriced because the bond market did the same thing. And so it has to.
Mike, we came off the, sorry, we came off the lows of the day, clearly. The S&P not down as much as 1%. We haven't now had more than a 1% decline in a single day on the S&P for 4 months. Is that kind of encouraging for whether we can get some optimism?
It's encouraging in the sense that the character of this market is to kind of find something in the way of support when something else is going down. It can't last necessarily forever. I think the average long term in a quarter is 13 1% moves either up or down. And here we are going, over a month without a single one. So yeah, it's an unusual period of time. I do think you did see a little bit of a response in the volatility index today. The VIX, it kind of crossed up above 15, which sometimes is a little bit of a level that says pay attention, maybe start to become on alert, but then it closed back below it. So the market kind of flirted with this idea that we're in a more unstable type environment, but then it pulled away from it once again. So it's encouraging in the sense that the market pulled itself together, but I don't think it changes what the market's project has been this whole year, which is to decide what the right valuation is to place on really good earnings and a really good economy that might decelerate into next year.
So, Rob, does that mean that earnings become even more important going into the fourth quarter to sort of make the market's decision?
I mean, it's gonna merit looking at these numbers in ways that you hadn't before. But I mean, it's sort of like the market hasn't. I don't know if people have been properly looking at earnings, every quarter. They've been kind of just jacking up stocks, or at least they haven't been responding necessarily in the way they should. This should give people jitters. Again, you have a risk-free rate that is now higher. You're going to have to make a decision. I mean, if you look at some of the stocks that sold off, they were the ones where you had pretty high PEs. I think you had a real tech sell-off, didn't you, today? I mean, that suggests to me that people are going to be wanting to see some evidence before they get back on the bandwagon.